In this video I'm going to show you how you can stop rust on the underside of your vehicle with Bilt Hamber Hydrate 80 and protect it afterwards with Lanoguard. I'm going to be tackling this job on my 9-year-old Mitsubishi Outlander, which in recent times has needed bits near the exhaust re-welding, so I'm keen to prevent and delay any further corrosion. This is going to be quite a long process, as I'm going to prepare the underside first, then apply the Hydrate 80, and then apply the Lanoguard the next day. Just to note, this is not a sponsored video, and all the products and tools you'll see I've bought myself. If you want to skip to any specific sections or purchase any of the products or tools I've used, then feel free to use the timestamps or links I've added in the video description box below. Okay, so preparation is probably the most important stage. If you don't do it, especially with any large areas of deep rust, the treatment is unlikely to be as effective. If you just paint over a thick rusty bit and the rust then falls off, it's going to take the treatment with it and leave the area exposed again. To do this, I'm going to be using a wire brush with a scraper should I encounter any thick stubborn bits, and this degreaser for a thorough clean afterwards. The weather is great and there's no rain forecast, so let's crack on. To get the car up to a decent height, I'm going to be using these Milenco Quattro ramps, which take the car up to 18 centimeters at its highest level and can handle up to a maximum loading capacity of 3 tons per axle. I'm also going to be using this pair of Draper wheel chocks to prevent the car moving whilst on the wheel ramps. It shouldn't do, but you can't be too careful. You can see there are a number of areas of rust which need treating on the underside of the car. Okay, so you can actually see this area has been replaced recently because it's so badly corroded. So I'm just hopefully aiming to prevent anything else needing to be replaced like this one. What I'm going to do is work my way around the underside of the car and remove loose flaky rust with a wire brush. For more built up areas, these can be gently scraped. Okay, so you can see how much has already come away with just giving that little scrape there. There's quite a lot on the floor, so I'm going to get that cleared up and then move on to the other side. As the Hydrate 80 will activate on clean steel, the affected area should be cleaned beyond the visibly corroded surface to ensure complete treatment. You can see why just painting over the top of thick rusty bits isn't going to work as well. Also, it's sensible but not compulsory to remove the engine splash shield. It usually involves removing a few bolts and trim clips. I've already taken mine off a week or so ago when I changed the oil and oil filter. Incidentally, a number of bolts holding the shield in place were very rusty, and so I'll be replacing them with some new stainless steel ones. The trim clips also invariably break on taking them off, so it's useful to have some spare. And again, I've linked these items in the video description box below. Just be sure to check which size you need before you purchase. Once you've prepped all the affected areas, it's recommended that you degrease the area and wash it down well with water. This degreaser recommends being diluted and then applied at a ratio of 5:1, and comes with a useful spray bottle. You want to avoid contact with your skin and eyes, and just throw caution to the wind, I'm also going to pop a mask on too for good measure. I'm going to simply spray it on and leave it for around 5 to 10 minutes to do its job before rinsing it off with a hose. I'm going to leave the underside to dry out a bit now and then apply the Hydrate 80. So we're all dry in the summer heat, and I'm going to go ahead and get ready to apply the Hydrate 80. To do this, I'm going to be using a paintbrush and an old ice cream tub. It's important you don't use a metal container. Shake the bottle vigorously and pour out a sufficient quantity into the container. Don't be tempted to pour out a large amount, as unused product cannot be returned into the original bottle. Contamination transferred in this way will activate the product and render it useless for future use. Paint over the area sparingly in 2 coats using a paintbrush. The first coat should be worked into the pitted areas and then smoothed over by brushstrokes in one direction. Excess application should be avoided. Again, what I'm going to do is just work my way around the underside of the car and cover all these areas in the Hydrate 80. You can see how easy it is to apply, work into the metal and tell where you've painted it on. Hydrate 80 works by stabilising existing corrosion by converting the iron oxides into a protected metal complex. It also combines with surface moisture and oxygen, depriving the corrosion process of the conditions it requires. Okay, so this was the Hydrate 80 on, and it's been on for about 15 minutes. But you can see how black it's gone compared to the other side. The instructions suggest waiting at least 30 minutes, so I'm going to go and pop the kettle on, have a break, and come back to do the second coat. Cheers.
So you can see this is the first bit I did well over half an hour ago. You can see it's changed to a black colour and dried nice and clear, and that's nice and dry as well, which is great. So I'm going to go ahead and apply the second coat now.
The second coat should be applied at a 90-degree angle to the first. For best results, it suggests to leave it for 24 hours to dry, so that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'll leave it overnight, and tomorrow hopefully it'll be another sunny dry day and we can get on with the Lanoguard. So unfortunately the Great British weather has struck again, and there's more rain forecast and heavier rain forecast for later today. I've been out and had a look at the areas that we treated with the Hydrate 80 yesterday, and it's all completely touch dry, which is fantastic. I'm not worried about the rain. The Hydrate 80 should keep that nice and protected, and what we'll do is we'll just wait for the next nice day to get on with the Lanoguard. Okay, so we've finally got some nice weather again. I've got the front of the car on the ramp, so let's go and have a look at how the Hydrate 80 is looking under the vehicle. Okay, so that's looking really good. You can see how the blue Hydrate 80 has been changed to a black colour now, and it's all nice and dry, which is brilliant. So that's really good. I'm really pleased with that. There are some bits which I struggled to get through into, as you can see around there, but I'll just cover that over with the Lanoguard spray. Should be easy enough to do. Okay, brilliant. This is the regular kit, and in this pack you get 2 litres of moto spray, 600 ml of moto grease, and the trigger sprayer. If you're just applying Lanoguard and not the Hydrate 80, you will still need to prep the underside of your vehicle for best results. Obviously I did that all yesterday before applying the Hydrate 80, and we can go ahead and apply the motor grease and the moto spray over this. Firstly, it's a good idea if you're doing this in the winter to leave the motor grease in a container with some warm water in it to soften it up and help you apply it. If you're doing this in the summer, like I am, then leaving the motor grease in the sun should suffice, and you can warm it up as many times as you need to. You can see how soft and easy it is to use now. I'm just going to apply the motor grease with a brush to any areas which are vulnerable to high corrosion or seizing up. This includes weld seams, nuts and bolts, sharp edges, threads, etc. Once I've applied the motor grease, I'm ready to move on to the spray. Whilst the Lanoguard spray is derived from oils of the fleece of sheep, is non-harmful to animals or the environment, and has green non-hazardous certifications, I'm still throwing a bit of caution to the wind and donning some gloves, safety glasses and a mask. Using the trigger sprayer, the motor spray can be applied to the whole body, chassis or any other areas you'd like to protect. The spray can safely be used on all metals, rubbers, plastics, electrical components, etc. Just be sure to avoid brake discs and brake pads. As well as being ideal for vehicle underbodies, it can be easily applied to other machinery or vehicles prone to rust, such as my lawnmower's deck. Once the spray is all on, it's best to leave your vehicle or machinery at least 24 hours before use. Lanoguard will take up to a week to fully cure, to a candle-like texture. It never fully cures or dries, and this is a vital property to ensure it is non-evaporative and self-healing, meaning it won't crack or dry out, leaving parts unprotected. Lanoguard typically lasts up to a year, so I'll be applying it at least every 12 months. And as you can see from the before and after images, just how much of a difference it has made to stop the corrosion process and protect the metalwork for the future. That was quite a long process, but it was always going to be, given that it's never been treated before. The longest part was painting on the Hydrate 80, and from the images I'm sure you'd agree it was well worth doing. I suspect going forward, when I do my annual oil and oil filter change, I'll inspect the underside and spot treat any breakthrough rusty areas with the Hydrate 80. Applying the Lanoguard products was probably the easiest and quickest bit, especially the Lanoguard spray. As I mentioned before, it is recommended the Lanoguard is applied every year, and I'll likely do this as advised. The Hydrate 80 and the Lanoguard products have combined really well to stop the corrosion process and leave my car well protected from the elements. If you found this video useful or learnt something new, then please do like it and subscribe to the channel to keep up with new content I'll be uploading. And feel free to check out some of our other videos appearing on your screen right now. Thanks for watching, see you next time.